After we have been acknowledged about the situation of environment, some solutions. So today, this afternoon, we will watch the documentary. We will have a panel called Years Have Gone By. The lead ghost still haunts Klity. We will have 4 panelists with us. I will give the panel to Nicha Wachpanich from GreenNews. Allow applause to her, please. I would like to invite our panelists to come and join us here. Our panel is Years Have Gone By, the lead ghost still haunts us. With discussion on lead poisoning in Karen village, Klity, Kanchanaburi. Good afternoon. I am Nicha Wachpanich from GreenNews. I will be the moderator for the panel today. We will have 4 panelists. First, Kun Nam Chalalai Nasuansuwan, Lower Klity Community Youth Group. Second, Kun Chayawee Wangcharoenrung, Director of Domestic Wastewater Section, Pollution Control Department. Third, Kun Sanitsuda Ekachai, Senior Journalist from Bangkok Post. And lastly, Kun Vorapoj Osathapiratana from Dinsorsee Creative Group. We will also show the documentary itself after the panel. Director is Kun Nontawat Nambenjapon. He's been into the village and film from 2012 to show how the community is living their life, the beautiful scenery of the village, and how the lead has been contaminated the creek that we cannot see in the eyes. With music composition and have been viewed in the Lugano Film Festival, Switzerland. For Klity documentary, you all have been familiar for a while. It's been a legendary lawsuit where community has been filed the lawsuit and win the perpetrator and to rehabilitate the environment. So the case has been going on for 50 years. From the year 1967, the lead concentration factory has run and contaminated the creek. The creek has been the mainstream where the village has been used and drink. Some have died and some have been really sick. And from 1997, news media and organization has been visiting the village and portray how the negative impacts has been done to the community, and the pollution department control has to take its part to make the clean access to water again. So now the department have to renew the environment in 1,000 days. So first of all, Kun Nam, please introduce yourself. So I'm Nam Chalalai Nasuansuwan. I am community members from Lower Klity community. I've been participated on community assessment on environment to consult and talk for the future plan to adapt and prevent the negative impact on community. Myself has been involved since around 2000s, beginning of 2000s. And could you please introduce yourself? Hello, my name is Chayawee Wangcharoenrung. I am the Director of Domestic Wastewater Section, Pollution Control Department. My role, I'm thinking about my role. What's been involved is, I have many roles involved. My past participation, I got the legacy because the lower Klity community has been long struggle. I am taking this legacy of the lawsuits after the Supreme Administrative Court gave the order for the department to make the rehabilitation of the village and community. After that, it can be called that I am the project manager responsible for the court's order. I need to study the regulations to coordinate with many related agencies, talk to academics. We have many regulations to follow, so I need to plan the scope of work, make the activity plans, like I said, as project manager. For the lower Klity community, the authorities have made many mandates to different policy and holders to make working panels, to exchange how the communities need to develop further. I am Sanitsuda Ekachai, senior journalist from Bangkok Post. Before our retirement, I've been the journalist. For now, I still continue my writing related to environment, to rights, to community development, human rights. And I've been followed the problems of wastewater in Klity community from the beginning, how the villagers have been suffered, struggle, environment of fear, how they are being stronger. This can be called a successful case study, but I have to be criticized whether or not it is really a successful case. Are there any problems that we need to still pay attention to? It is a very important environmental lawsuit in Thailand. Hello, I am Vorapoj Osathapiratana from Dinsorsee Creative Group. I've been participating with Klity together with Pizza, as the community has been contaminated with lead. There are many organizations involved, the Karen community group and in-law, they both are important groups, has been the main actors for Dinsorsee creation. group, to publicize, how to engage further actors, how to make campaign in lower Klity community started 10 years ago to bring out the stories. Our group interested in community arts. We bring arts into community to engage villagers and communicate with outsiders. From 2013 and 14, it's been our project. I've been working with Kunam and the youth group in lower Klity. It's a project called Klity Karen. We are doing about the development project within the community. First, Kunam, could you tell us how the situation in Klity at the moment? As I introduce myself as a community member, as Dr. Chayawee said, I've also got this legacy to be involved, even though I'm not the person who contaminate the water. As the members who are living in the community and got the legacy, I'm not the one who benefited from the lead project. Even the department, pollution control department and villagers do not want this negative impact to our community. But what can we expect for the future? How we can be involved in the problem-solving processes? For now, we are starting to return access to clean water in our community. The community ourselves learn along the process. One thing, participation is really important. It's not only for now, but from the starting process, from the design of the rehabilitation process. It is very important that community be part of the project to indicate how the problem can be solved, how we can be safe from lead. But it's not begin. The community participation did not be involved at the starting point. So at the moment, we cannot recall it's a success process. The villagers still not safe, even though it's been 1,000 days after the promise rehabilitation. This portrays that the designs, the participation has to be criticized. Again, since the villager is not safe, as a villager, I still have hope that I will have a safe space for my for living my life, to participate further, because we cannot amend the past. We did not have our participation, our voices in the rehabilitation process, because at the end, it's the community that will get what the process will bring out, the good and the bad things, how we can be improve the better process in the future. In short, I think the current situation is not safe for the community. Can you describe how the community living with the creek, the Klity Creek? So we have the public water running system sending from outside, but sometimes the water doesn't run well. We still depend on the creek. We also depend on the community forest grown beside the creek. We have a grocery vans coming in and out community, but what is convenient, what is sufficient for our life is the fishes and vegetable grown inside our community. We try to avoid buying groceries, but many families doesn't have enough resources, financial resources to buy. So at the end, if the creek isn't safe, it means our life isn't safe. How can we find a space to talk? Ministry of Health said that we cannot drink or eat from the creek. You say no, but how can we set our direction, our new life direction safe when the environment, the whole environment is not safe for the community? So I would like to focus that it's really important that community participation is important in the community. I would like to give a bigger picture that the project has now already ended our 1,000 days responsibility, but in total 80% of the work is done because there are some logistical and technical works due to COVID-19, so we extend the 20% of the project to be finished very soon. For the past work we have done are the deposition of the waste. We call so we have the lead waste to cover in the deposit space. It's been in control and inspected by academics. It can be safe or even the best process happening in Thailand. We have it done, the deposition done nearby the mine, or we can call it take it back to where we make it out. There are many processes done. What we have already been doing are taking the bottom of the river, the soil out. That has been more than what we have been expected. Our committee are inspected whether the process has been up to the standard we set. We also improve the contaminated area to make it safer for the community. Maybe only have to grow the 3 bags to that area. There are also small projects around our tasks. We can see that the way of life of community members are also changed. For example, the public running water, we call it the forest public water right to each household We also doing the access to water project, because in many areas in community are contaminated with lead. We also improve how community members travels. From the past, community members need to take 3 hours inside. Now they take only 2. So overall, many perspectives of the ways of life has changed. The mobile signals are in. The youth are using more and more social media. Good news is people who are working inside can communicate better. People may also perceive that the area is still unsafe, but I think the trend, for example, from Ministry of Health, the trend is the quality of life and quality of environment we study deem to be positive. And I think this is the fact that the contamination is lessening. We don't need and don't want to congratulate that we think that our project is successful, because we still need to see an end. But I can predict that the trend is positive, and the way of life community members seems to have changed. 2 weeks ago, our department also report about the case, the progress on where we have been working. The question of safety, I think we can give a better score, that we make it better. As Kun Chayawee said, seems like the situation has been improved in many perspectives. Kun Cha, for you, seems like the news about Klity is not into the wider public. What do you think about that? I think it's also been news that villagers are calling for a stop on the rehabilitation plan that doesn't go along what the community wants. There are also debates and discussion on this. The officials may say that they've done something, it's been better, we have statistics, but at the same time, villagers said it's not that, it's not the case. And for the media, what should we do? It is our duty. At the moment, community also have their own ways to communicate. They have community media, have their own voices. At the same time, mainstream media also have responsibility to listen to the villagers and the officials. Is that only the case, and what are the reality? As a journalist, it is difficult for the media organizations to work because we lack financial support. for field works, it is a challenge for us not to see it with our own eyes. If we still doing the traditional work to interviews people in the ministries, listen only one-sided from the authorities, citing academic references as a person not expert in these kind of statistics, numbers. We don't know how to read that. So as a journalist and media, I need to decide how we would like to voice out. Whose voice? The authorities that saying they already done something better, or we should go inside and see things in our own eyes. It's been a difficulties, challenges. For me, I've been there. I've seen what's happening. I've talked to villagers where they have some concerns, worrisome. The Thai patriot parties of the officials is not the place where they can have their voices. Is not an equal space. Villagers do not have rights and voices. Nam has been said by herself that she's not been involved from the beginning. What the community wants, where they've been said all the time what they want. Every time I've been interviewed community, I don't want money. That I sue the authority, I did not want money. We want the Klity Creek to be clean, to be usable. Only that. That's what we want. As a media, when we hear and when we there, the authority is saying about the water, what we have to think, whether or not the water already been clean as the community wants. I think we don't have to care very much about expertise information. We need to see that the 50 years of struggle, is the water really clean already? If not, we have to make sure that it's safe. Only that. Authorities may say that, oh, we already test the water, is this and that, but we have to always have our eyes opened on our tax. Until now, Ministry of Health never announced that the community suffer from lead contamination, never officially. The community wins lawsuits from finding facts themselves elsewhere, not the Ministry of Health that tell this. We as society need to know this. Ministry of Health can and don't want to speak out because they may fear that lawsuits may be against them. Everything full of fear. What the community wants are equal voices to decide what they want. As myself said, I've been interested in this issue on this environmental lawsuits. This is a representative of the problems in Thailand. Besides ignorance, to have the factory leaking the water for 20, 30 years, what the authorities done? What the Ministry of Natural Resources done? when the community said they will file the case, ministry said, so you don't want the country to have the money to make profit. So what authority has been with the villagers or with the business? This is the problem of the whole bureaucratic system. Klity is the representative of our country's problem. Government says they come to help with this mental perspective to help. The power is really different here. These Klity villagers are not Thai. Why we have to help them? I hear it myself. This is the case of how bureaucracy treats people, making it top down, no participatory process here to solve their problems, even now. Villagers even receive, maybe seen that receive million, but when you divide it with the time they've been struggle, how their children been disabled by the leak contamination, that cannot be counted. A doctor said, once I've seen it in my eyes that children in community suffer from leak contamination, but the doctor said it's normal. Do you think the media has already done their part in these many years of struggle? And I think the case of Lower Klity has been publicized due to the involvement of media. Without media, I think that maybe the Klity case cannot come as much publicized. Dinsorsee Creative Group, as one of the main actors, been working for 10 years with community. You have been arranged your art project here at BACC, Bangkok Art and Culture Center. What you've seen the society perceive of the case? So maybe we can go back 30 years ago until today, that people in Thailand knew more about Klity. So the first wave of those affected with community, now they are old. The next generation growed up not knowing some of the story. So not only external struggle, the community also have to adapt and transfer the struggle inside the community. That's not counting the livelihood that they also have to fight with. What important is the perception on environment that the general society have, especially the urban people. People in the cities only sees nature as environment, not counting people that live inside the environment. When we talk about Klity, people outside always saying that, oh, you are living, you have like 10 people living in communities. If you have this problem, you just leave and then stay elsewhere. And at the beginning, when we talk with media and having organizations working until we win the case, besides legal challenges, we also need to fight with knowledge, perception on community rights, on people's life, and the treatment of the authorities to take care of the problem. And that is 20 years until we legally win the case. That Kun Chayawee are here to continue the process. But these 20 years are ways outside the legal struggle as well. Klity is the first lawsuits that have the perpetrator to pay for rehabilitation on what they have done to the environment. It makes standards that environmental cases involve people, involve authorities, involve private organizations that make the pollution. After winning the case, after we win the lawsuit, we change the perception for the society to pay attention to the Klity community. And the second step, we need to deal with the external perception that when you receive financial remediation, what else you need? So the community needs to also deal with the community that make the problem. And that's when the civil society and social movement outside these actors comes and pressure the pollution control department to take the remediation back to the community. So besides the stakeholders, they have also people who will follow that the process is done. What is rehabilitation? What are the perception of authorities to complete the project? If the authorities do not see people inside this process, only see that they follow the lawsuit orders just to find some private outside consultation company to work on the process without people involved. This kind of process, frankly, is without a heart. It's not a rehabilitation. It's just fixing problem according to the law. If Lower Klity can have the remediation, it means returning the quality of life after contamination of water. Villagers cannot catch fish to eat because the contamination of the creek. That's why community members need to buy, to use money that destroy the sufficient way of life the community used to maintain. The system, the biosystem of community is gone, and the rehabilitation process need to count this in. This is the question, and there have to be dimensions on people and the way of life. As Kun Ja and Kun Nam said, community participation is needed, not only scientific committee investigating the wastewater, not only the medicine, not only health, but on culture. It has to be a comprehensive committee to consider giving back the quality of life to the community. For me, the bureaucracy's myth saying that they are the one who control the decision process is not about the ministry involved. It's not about the ambition. Sorry, it's about the ambition to give back the rehabilitation, to return the forests, to return and win the hearts of the communities. That will be legendary. But the authority seems not to get to that point. For now, it's only the department to speak out without participation from communities, because villagers do not know technical knowledge and issues. So this committee need to have not only technical experts, but also have other committees that take authorities and other stakeholders to have this legacy, the positive legacy, and transfer to the next generation, and that's what community members want. I think the lower Klity issues are not gone out of Thailand perception. There have been donations made to community to take contamination out of the creek. Why community have to receive donation? Is this the gap between the government and community? So the consultative process between the authorities and communities may not be really successful. We can hear out that community said that it's not really yet that victory for both sides. And I think we still have the society watching how the process will be end. We've been saying a lot about community participation. We have and think that the mechanism here need to involve as many parties. As you're saying, the Thai Patriot Committee involving authorities, community, and outside organizations. So come back to our main question, how democracy and environment is interrelated. What do you think participation means? Again, please say your opinion. So as the youngest, I will answer first. For me, I'm not sure if I can speak and answer the question as a community member and also a person affected from the problem. I think cooperation is meaningful. We need to depend on many parties, especially the pollution control department. Without the department, I think the rehabilitation may not be happen. But mainly, the process is still lacking participation from community. That's why in the bigger picture, when the department says that it's been positive, but as a person who are living inside, I think we need to talk more and communicate about the fact and not the fact. So we have the same picture on what needs to be done. About the way of life and impacts, I think community is the best person to say on what dimensions it's been affected, not only environment or culturally, but it's holistic, the way of life of community. So if you're saying that rehabilitation means the better quality of life and health, the result of some people may be better, but those who are not having the taste yet, what can we say about that? For villagers who are still using water from the creek, they are fear to have the blood taste because Ministry of Health said that you cannot use the water, and if you use the water, they also fear of the consequences of the use. Maybe that can also mean their community also makes something wrong using it. So for those who have the blood tasted and is positive, that may be a better way of life that the department said, but for those who doesn't have the taste, what we can say about it. And for other dimensions on the way of life, we have better road condition, but we cannot say that is the whole quality of life the community have. We may say that we need better access to food, clean food. I'm sitting here because we still have problems inside community. My father is also a leader of the struggle. I used to think that it's gonna end in my father's generation. It will not continue, but it continues until my generation. So I think that if it not end in my generation, it will not end at all. So I think we need to talk. We need to consult each other on every dimension, what been happened and what gonna be consequences, the perspective of the and implications to community. I am a few in my community that dare to speak out about the negative impacts. Not every villagers want to speak out, not only the barrier of language, they also fear of access, do not dare to be here. Today, I have the opportunity to speak, to be represent that there's still a problem in my community.
ที่ได้สัมผัสเรื่องปัญหาไม่ใช่แค่ลงไปแล้วสัมภาษณ์จบเพราะว่ามันมีกรณีว่าไปสัมภาษณ์
I think it's not just going into our community and interview us.
ไม่ได้ถามต่อว่าแล้วช่วงหน้าแล้งล่ะเอาน้ำจากที่ไหน
It also
อันเนี้ยก็คือข้อว่างช่องว่างของคำถาม
there are also a lot of questions that can be answered at one time. Many things are in details. Questions need to be addressed more and more.
So in conclusion, her opinion is that if you are talking about participation, it has to cover in all dimensions, not only one or two. And then for the media need to have more understanding about the actual situation in the area as well. So our next person from the Pollution Control Department. From what I have heard from other speakers, of course, as a government official, we were always told that, the government officials and all the office are all the same, and we have our pattern of working. But I would like to say that I'm sorry that our government works have been disappointed by the people. But the system that we are in sometimes make it very difficult to really know who is actually responsible. And I think we all have to help together, not only for the government only, and in the society with the democracy. I think naturally not everyone would think in the same way. So when we're looking at the Klity case, we will see that even when we're looking at the same problem, the way we think about it can be all different. When I talk to local community, I talk to some government officials. People, they are all, looking at the same thing in the different ways. But of course, as a government sector, we're supposed to do our best to make the people's livelihood maintain healthy. And of course, we need to listen, right? So if we deny listening to people, there won't be the committee that being set up, as we know. And of course, all of us are having all different ideas. The team that working directly on the health issues have one opinion, and others have other opinion. But what we have been doing or able to do is the result of listening around. I listen to different, sector or the different sectors. And as a government office or the government unit, we stuck with the bureaucracy system sometimes. And when we try to listen, for example, from the court, from our own department, from some kind of the order from the government, to really know what we should do in any specific time, it was not working that well. So I am sorry that yeah, seems like we stuck in many level and is would not be really satisfy everyone about what we were doing. And there are so many activity happen under the project or the process that we are in. So in every single activity seems like we have more than one opinion on what we should do, what we should not do. But in my opinion, I think compared with other case, the Klity case seems to be the case that absorb most of the opinion, and the process has a lot of process have been fulfilled. So I recognize that the problem, the difficulty were there, and not everyone were happy about what happened, what we have been doing.
ทุกคนในทีมเนี่ยบอกว่าถ้าช่วยนึกออกว่าเราเดาปัญหานี้ให้ชาวบ้านเดือดร้อนไปเรื่อยๆเนี่ยเราจะได้
So all of us in my team are not understand why we have to make the case kind of continue process as well. And of course, I understand that everyone are wanting to see that the problem is completely solved. Yeah, but I mean, after all, I think what I can say is that we were trying our best to do what we're supposed to do. Yeah. So I think further we come back to the role of the media, as also I am a media, and everyone said that the role of the media is very strong. So to make one issue to become the public issues, So let's hear from Sanitsuda, how can we make this kind of issue to be the issue in the public? I actually don't want to answer this question, but I would like to answer the question how the democracy linked to the environment. I think if our country is really democracy country, this kind of issue will not happen from the beginning. If the people have the rights to say that they want the project or do not want the project, if they really have the right, this kind of problem will not happen. Yeah, we have the constitution that say that you have to listen to the people. People have the community right, the human right. So we keep having coup d'etat, and then we change our constitution again, and then we erase what we have, and then so the explanation of the community rights has been erased or has been unclear or cannot be really enforced, because after all the law that we are having is not really supporting our democracy system. We don't have real democracy. So if as a media, if we keep writing or talking about Klity in a broad area, and if we miss the real point that what exactly make the project happen, who really a controller or the actor that really make this kind of thing happen. If we cannot understand this, it's going to be a problem. Who is actually make the mind happen, who really push this project, then the government has to accept or following what they want. So when you talk to the Klity people, they say they don't want this kind of problem happen to other community. They want others looking at what happened to them and see how difficult now their area is still dirty, is unsolved, and they don't want things like that happen to other people. So if we have the real democracy, so you don't have the people who are trying to protect the area against mining would not be killed or being violated. And that's because we have a real problem with what our so-called democracy. And it's really linked, it's really impact to others between the democracy and the environment. So if we want to be so I really hope that as a media, when we write about something, we can understand the big pictures as well, not only focusing on the piece and bits of the issue or the story. Yeah, like you have to understand as well what's happening with the government, with the government office, what are they really now trying to play. So our last speaker from Dinsorsee group. Now we use hashtag a lot, right? So lately, like if you have a good politics, this is one of the hashtags. But so maybe if you have the good politics, you don't have Klity. Yeah. So I kind of sad to hear from our friends from the government that there will be some needs in the area to support. I have been there, spent hours to travel. Yeah, I was a bit sad that even you have a goodwill. Yeah. So what does it mean? It means that we have to wait until the Klity people face this problem before they can have the road and access to infrastructure. So I think that the lack of democracy, it's really make the top-down approach that this is just a pattern of the government, right? I mean, them adopt bureaucrat. Maybe it's not even about a person, but it's the system. But it's about the structure that still not democratized yet. So with that situation in the big picture, even we set up one and another committee, but the committee cannot really work or cannot really make a decision that can give the good impact or the good process to solve the problem, because we have to follow or trying to do one or another things that under the whole big issue, and we cannot solve the problem at the end. And you cannot really make people feel happy, right? You have that opinion, but you cannot solve the problem. You cannot really set up the system that people can really involve or participate together with the democracy process. So if you don't have a good, structure, the more you work, the more you gain the problem. It can be like that as well. And when the approach we are using is top-down approach, and we do not, allow ourselves to link or to ask for the actual support from the different group, and then involve them, even them they don't have the same opinion with us. We lack of the process to really make this happen. So we cannot reach out the successful problem solving. So the process to reach democracy, it have to start from the state, from the government level down to the local community level. Yeah, so if you don't have that, you cannot fulfill what Nam said that she would like that to end in her generation. You cannot. And of course, in conclusion, in every single case of the environmental problem is linked directly to the political system that we are having. Yeah, looking at what we are having, our the government house, who are sitting there, and what are the content or the issue that we keep talking about, how much it is really focusing on the actual issues of the people. So I think the question is, how can we make Klity as a case for others to learn, to make things in the future better. So we have another 10 minutes to fulfill our democracy approach. So can I hear questions from the floor?
I'm Pitipan Pranamongkol from the Environmentalist Journalist Club. For Kun Nam and Dr. Chayawee. For Kun Nam, my question is the Lower Klity community, as the creek runs through the Upper Klity and Lower Klity. When we speak about community members, it's difficult to say or to access what the community will think, because it's different, the level of impacts that these two communities receive, and the rehabilitation process will affect both communities differently. That's the question for Kun Nam. Second question for Kun Chayawee. I would like to hear the progress of the process that the polluter need to pay process. Is this process is really going on? And what has happened now today? So for me, why I am taking this project, the reason is the pollution control agencies in Thailand is different from the international model, how we are dealing with contaminated area. We using many channels, setting up related agencies like at the national level, from trash, from water, from air, and that is the division we have in the national policy level. But for the case study like Lower Klity, my organization has some challenges to deal with these multi-approaches for contamination area. Another thing is our legal and technical issues on legal issues. When we facing new challenges, is not really function well, especially on prevention. There's no law that can really be effective on preventing the damages. Is quite confusing. Myself, I've been studying experiences from international setting in many projects. I've seen that internationally, other countries also find guidelines in order to write the law. But when it comes back to the case I'm dealing with in Thailand, I have facing many day-to-day work and other combination of the projects. I cannot find a time to find a way and try to amend the law to be as international standard and framework. I really like the idea on the making the guarantee not only financially. So this kind of guarantee means that when we facing problem, we can use this financial reserve to solve the problem, not waiting for the problem to happen, but we can access to this kind of financial reserve or guarantee to fix the problem. In foreign countries, some have set guidelines in many scenarios already. They make steps what to be done. In Thailand, we did not have clear steps, so people are facing struggle when the actions are not ready to respond the urgency of the situation. Like in Japan, they also have the list down the level of contamination to deal right exactly after the contamination has happened. So the lack of clear law is among the problems we have, and if it's better, I would like to be part of that to make the law better. Forคุณน้ำ For my community, even though we are two communities, we are one village. We have the same goal to have clean environment, safe for all. We do not have a discussion that we will not use the water, but we see that we all need the water to be safe to use. This is our goal. However, as Dr. Chayawee said, in details, people receive negative impact differently, but everyone wants clean environment, clean water. That's the same thing. Yes, no one wants the Klity Creek to be contaminated. We need clean environment. My question to Kun Chayawee. For the lack of law, the community used to file a complaint to find a standard. In the case of petrol leak, we see that the society asks for the standard to be a reference. In many cases, the department already have some standard inside. It's not about a problem of law. I think it's a problem that the department doesn't clarify what is the standard.
กรมเนี่ยเป็นปลายทางก็คือในการที่จะตั้งกรมเนี่ยมันจะมีพรบพระราชบัญญัติอยู่กฎหมายในระดับพระราชบัญญัติเนี่ยเป็นกฎหมายที่
I would like to clarify many issues.
เอาเรื่องการฟื้นฟูพื้นที่ปนเปื้อนการฟื้นฟูพื้นที่ปนเปื้อนเนี่ย
First thing,
ในพรบสิ่งแวดล้อมปัจจุบัน
for the rehabilitation process for contaminated area, this still lacks in terms of the act that we have at the moment. The department doesn't have the power to authorize the act.
ถ้าเป็น2510เนี่ยเขาไม่ได้ทำแม้แต่เรื่องของไอ้ตัวรายงานวิเคราะห์ผลกระทบสิ่งแวดล้อมแต่ในกรณีนี้คือเราไม่ได้เข้าไปไอ้นี่กับเขาด้วย
And
แต่ส่วนของเรื่องของ
yes, so now the panel has been discussing in details whether they have some supporting acts can be involved in dealing with contamination area. So Chayawee continues referencing the World Health World standards on the air pollution and water pollution, for example, and will soon present it for further steps. Other cases are also metal standards in oceans. So the Q&A sessions goes on. The main question is we have so many problems on fixing the international standard to be compliant with Thailand standard. Many things are not updated yet. Chayawee continues that many standards are set 10 years back. We reference our standard from international study, and it can be different from the Thailand database because we don't have everything, and sometimes it cannot be applied in specific area. For example, in lower Klity community, normally mining activities happen in areas, in specific area called potential area for lead in this case. Naturally, lower Klity have abundant resources of lead, and that's why mining activities happen here. When we apply the standard or the statistic from Klity to compare with the standard that the Thailand have set, that access comparing to China, these kind of details are not setting in Thailand. So we come to the end of the discussion. I hope that we have learned and listened a lot from our panelists. After this, we will watch By the River documentation. And thank you for all the panelists. So we have a very heating debate here at MEL 2020. It can pave us to further debate and discussion. In the case of Lower Klity, if the
เข้ามายับยั้งก็คือกรณีคำสั่ง
government have a clear direction to protect the environment, we will have clear
ที่เราจะไปสู่การ
direction for legal and litigation as well. And thank you for the panel.
อีกครั้งหนึ่งสำหรับ
Further question can be discussed outside.
สุดสัปดาห์สิ่งแวดล้อมแม่โขง
And the end, the last panel discussion on our Mekong ASEAN Environmental Weekend, Environment, Democracy, Livelihood, and the Regional Interconnection. We have many discussions cover our themes, ending just now about the case study on Lower Klity community to see that the Klity can be a representative of Thailand, how we manage
ผู้จัดค่ะขอเวลาให้ผู้จัดงานครั้งนี้ซึ่ง
the problem of
ได้มา
political, legal, and environmental issues here.
สารคดีเรื่องสุดท้ายซึ่งหาชมที่ไหนไม่ได้ชมได้ที่นี่ที่เดียวนะคะก็ขอเรียนเชิญคุณทิติพัน
Then
ธ์
before we are going to see by the river
แวดล้อมขึ้นมา
documentary, we would like to
เข้าสู่ช่วง
invite
การจัดงานสุดสัปดาห์สิ่งแวดล้อมแม่โขงอาเซียน2563ค่ะเชิญคุณทิติพันธ์
คุณทิติพันธ์พัฒนมงคล from Environmentalist Society, Journalist Society, to conclude our panel. I have a very tough question, tough invitation to conclude our panels. I will do it with my perspective. So for the background of Mel 2020 or Mekong ASEAN Environmental Week, we held this event for the second year amongst a heating political environment after the COVID-19 pandemic that's still not silent, and the organizers finally decide to continue this year. Our theme is environment, democracy, livelihood, and the regional interconnection. It is the theme that really relevant to the political environment we are having as a person working directly on environment and political issues and institutions is really relevant. 3 days that we design the session, we want to have it to look back 10 years. What happened in the work of environment and community rights? We opened the panel to have the environmental journalists speak. We mark the date when the Chayawee Dam first started its construction, and from that day it's been 10 days. Second day, we have the panel discussion on the top trouble in this turbulence period of investment, foreign direct investment in ASEAN. We have our friends from Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Indonesia. Many came in recorded live from Zoom with Q&A in Zoom, having many good collaboration with many friends. Until today, we have our panels on finding solution. I've listened through all the session to find solutions on energy community from Myanmar that produce sufficiency sources of energy, example of forest management by community. In many areas, problems still there and solutions still not clear. Yes, we see opportunities, but also challenges. I've seen that throughout 3 days, sometimes I listen to international panelists. It can also reflect the problems here in Thailand. Many things they've said, problems of ethnic minority is harassed and violated and facing with some discourses on rotational plantation that destroy the forest area is the same when ethnic minority abroad face the same problem. Also, from our international panelists said, as Klity have said, everyone has the same hope, same needs to have their role to protect the soil, the water, forests, by themselves, by ourselves. And the objectives of our MAL 2020 may seem to be a little bit serious because we have full of problems, environmental problems. We don't want to blame it on someone else, only talking about problems. Our activities would like to pave the way out, the exit of these problems. And lastly, I may not have a clear conclusion, some 3 demands, 2 stands, 1 dream, something like that, but holistically, we would like to bring out that there is this issue as a representative of the organizers. We are from Project Savannah, Southeast Asia, from the Society of Environmental Journalists, from E2O Watch, from Focus on the Global South, from Terre Solidaire, and from Thai PBS as the main broadcaster. We would like to thank everyone that been here with us for 3 days. Thank you very much. And as we come to the end, myself as the main moderator here, I would like to thank gratefully to the audiences here and online. We would like to call it an end, but it's not yet the last activity we're gonna have. At BACC, we will have a film screening of By the River.